Happy Friday night, everybody. What a special night it is to be with you all. And thanks for coming. Thanks for sharing out. Thanks for hitting a thumbs up and putting on your notifications so that you know when I go live. Did This will be the third night this week that I've done a show. And it's been a little busy on my end, packing, moving. Um, and I've had some great help along the way, but yeah, it takes a toll, as you know, in all ways. So thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for being here. We have just some really amazing things happening in the world. And I want to talk about that a little bit tonight. I want to connect with you all and chat. Um, and Nita Bells, good to see you. What's happening? Um, and Lily, good to see you. Smoky Eye, what's happening? How you doing? Jabla, good to see you. Moonbeam, welcoming everybody. Prayers for protection. Excuse me, folks. Some pretty intense stuff happening in Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Iowa, Michigan, and have some ugly storms that way. So prayers up for everybody. Wendy, good to see you. Green Lizard, what's happening? How you doing? Furry Grizzly, good to see you. Yeah, please thumbs up and share out, my friends. Thank you all for who are sharing out on X, and please tag somebody that you think would benefit seeing this. And otherwise, it doesn't get much viewership because of X, because of the algorithms. I'm definitely shadow banned on X, just given the numbers and that we're doing here. And so at any rate, so thank you for those of you who are sharing this out consistently. You are much appreciated. Hunter, good to see you. Furry Grizzly, it's your birthday today. Yes, drop your first name if you will, and I won't sing to Furry. How about that? Good to see you, Cutler. Deb B, what's happening? Matt, good to see you. The Art of Silence is that beautiful music. Whip and Spur, good to see you. What's happening? Good to see you, VSS. Goody Two Shoes. Karen, Serdwin, happy Friday. JL Bear, what's happening? KKY, hello from Nebraska. Hello, Dave and Sneds. Maggie, good to see you. Gino, what's happening? Kevin, my man, I miss you. We haven't talked in days. Let's remedy that. BZ, hello. Lacey Bounds in the house. Good to see Lacey. Yeah, good to see everybody here, and welcome. BP, what's happening? Maggie, I got to make a decision by this Monday whether I do chemo or not. Prayers are needed. Maggie, I'm sorry to hear that. So, Maggie, I don't know what kind of natural protocol you're on, but I just did want to say that the reason why I believe we were given the hydroxychloroquine and the ivermectin from President Trump was because of its ability to cure us of all parasites, including cancer. And Patriot Storm posted this today. I'll share with you. Let me get my studio over here so I know where I'm going. Diane, thank you for your $20 Rumble rant. Much appreciated. Let me bring this up. So the CIA always knew cancer was a parasite, which is why Trump introduced ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. And we've been talking about this for years. Central Intelligence Agency, confidential, endoparasites and malignant tumors resemble each other in many respects by reasons of similar conditions under which they grow and exist. This suggested long ago the idea in regard to the parasite nature of tumors. Parasitic worms, which live in intestines, exhibit a pronounced anaerobic metabolism. They deposit in their bodies large quantities of glycogen. The accumulation of glycogen is one of the properties which they share with tumors. The tissues of both intestinal parasitic worms and cancer tumors belong to the amphibiotic uroxybiotical. Yeah, don't take any medical advice from this guy that can't pronounce some of these words, but I just want you to have access to research that is significant. The tissues of both intestinal parasitic worms and cancer tumors belong to this. They are characterized by metabolism involving incomplete exudations under aerobic conditions and are of the same adapted anaerobic conditions. In 1938, Enmal synthesized the alkylated aminoxanthone Miracle D, which was found to be effective both against malignant tumors. So that's really what you want to get out of this. In investigating the relative toxic effect of artibrum, so much on various animals, the author of this article, together with another guy, found that the majority of animals are more sensitive to laboratory artibrin. However, the following test subjects proved to be more sensitive to dextrorotorory. Yeah, this is tough. But the bottom line is that they've been found that the tissue of malignant tumors and parasitic worms are distinguished from healthy tissue and from that of non-parasitic worms by an opposite reaction to optical enantiomorphs of artibrin. Basically showing that they're similar to parasites, and so that they might have a similar reaction to those parasitic medications like ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. One of the many reasons I think they buried this unbelievable thing. So, Cynthia, good to see you, but good luck on your decision, Maggie, and please do your homework, and prayers up for Maggie on her decision, folks. And I really wish you all the best, and God bless you. That's a when we think life is tough, then we get a health issue like this, and then you really realize what's going on. So good to see you, Chris. Good to see you, Dharma. Hello from Colorado. Waken Trillium, welcome. We are all patriots, digital soldiers guided by God's warrior angels, seeking the truth and exposing it to humanity. Folks, cheers to you. I poured myself a drink based on the way that I read that last thing. Trust me, I haven't even had a sip yet. I'm just struggling over those difficult words. And by the way, I understand that there are some difficult words in medicine. I also understand that there are some difficult words in legalese. And when you understand that this whole agenda by them are to edify those who can pronounce those words, that studied, that went to indoctrination camp for a lot longer than the rest of us, meaning they were in college and med school and so forth. Part of the system that we find ourselves trapped in is created by the Western medicine and the legal system, which has been like the verbiage and the words that they use are meant to separate us from them and give them greater intelligence in our perception, because they know all these words and they know what they mean, and they've studied the the uh, um, the root of these words and so forth. So I just want to say that I could read a legal document and stumble over words as well, even though I took some business law back in the day and my MBA and so forth. I got a lot of that stuff, and I still stumble over some of it because it's worded in a way for us to be confused. So that now we have to go out and hire a lawyer, we have to hire a doctor, and we have to put our faith in them. Um, so yeah. So just thoughts. Pete Gadley, happy Friday night live, everyone. Peggy and Visalia, good to see you. Nam Garrett, good to see you, my friend. And Auntie Honey, good to see you, my dear. Beware, the USDA has approved silently and with no testing, allowing, here we go again. The mRNA spike protein in our pets' vaccinations. My dogs will no longer be getting any shots, rabies included. I agree. Jasper is not getting any of that crap, and they're trying to get it to us. And folks, we've talked about this many times. When I told you, probably before anybody followed, that they're going to try to poison us through the jabs, and also the not just humans, but through our food and through our pets. So yeah, definitely something to look out for. Edward, warm Arizona, actually cold and windy. Greetings, friends and family. Hello, Sneds. Good to see you, my friend. Glad that you are here with us. Smoky Eye is heading northeast Tulsa, and that area is getting it. Yeah. Praying for everyone in the middle of the storms. Terrible weather. Yeah, it's actually quite lovely here in West Texas. So, um, sending you all some of this great weather. So excited for tonight's show. Hey, DaveSned, Sarah, thank you for being here. Here we go. Check your codes. Absolutely, Kevin. May we stand together as one people under the direction of our Creator to protect and defend our way of life, our families, and each other. Amen. Amen. Whip and spur. Hello, Sned fam. Hi, BP. You're welcome. I'm glad to be here. And I needed a little me time last night after 2 solid days of packing and moving, and 4 out of 5 solid days. So it's it's been interesting, to say the least. Jody, good to see you. Pete, thanks for being in the house, my friend. Let's see. Lucky luck. Gas prices are out of control again. So I filled up today in West Texas. I think it was $2.29 per gallon. And isn't it interesting that the media is reporting the rising gas prices due to the war in the Middle East and the Strait of Hormuz, et cetera, et cetera. Meanwhile, we're still at half what they were under Biden, right? And without any war, with being the laughing stock of the world. Yeah. Yes, Dave, you are shadow banned on X. Yeah. Farad, good to see you, my friend. How you doing? Miss you, my brother. Two Terrors and Me, good to see you. Jan Coleman, good to see you, my dear. Awesome. I definitely tell everyone I know about you, Dave, on and off YouTube. Thank you, Beezy. I appreciate you. Chris, thanks for reposting. Roy Diamond in the house. Ennis Land, hi all from San Clemente. How goes the move, Dave? Not as good without you, but got some good help here with my family and dear friends. Thank you. Hello to George. Jingle, good to see you as well. Listening for 5 years now. Amazing outcomes. Awesome. God love you. Yeah. Not sick of me yet. Oh, goodness. Well, cheers to you. Amazing outcomes. Thanks for that. Thanks for all of you who have been in this for the long haul. Boy, has this been a journey, my friends. Here's to our journey together through this awakening, through this revolution into a much, much better world. Cheers. Ah, it's Friday night, my friends. It's Friday night. What's happening? What's happening? What's sounds? There we go. There we go. Heartbeat. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Oh, how funny is that? I'm finding new toys to play with. Um, so let's see. Finally, snowing in Colorado, heavy and wet. Boy, we're grateful for the moisture. Yeah. Thanks for the great information. You're very welcome. Thank you. Phil Dan's good to see you. What's happening? Half Truths, welcome. Nicolette, Joe Tippin's Protocol. Yeah, please check into that, Maggie. Absolutely. Yeah. CBD, by the way, from my research when I was looking into this for my friend Franklin and my brother Craig for their glioblastoma, um, I found that CBD is only effective on breast cancer, but all the others need the THC in order to fight it, and not from smoking it, but from the oil, like the whole plant, made into an oil. Yeah. So everyone throwing out some great comments on Maggie. Maggie, I just got ivermectin from a local compounding pharmacy yesterday. Finally, my doc and breast surgeon said it doesn't work. So it is, you're getting that indoctrination from them, but go do it, and come back to them and show them. Yeah, be brave and hope you will be positive and brave with us, supporting you and praying and pulling for you. That's awesome. Great community, folks. Thanks for jumping behind Maggie and lifting her up here. This is beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, some great comments. Um, okay. Thank you all for that. Excuse me. Dave, do you have the same address? I do for now. I may change the PO box, but I will be able to get mail from this PO box. But I got to work on that. That's got to be part of my, my new, shift. By the way, folks, our days in this Sned shed are numbered. Probably, I'm guessing maybe 4 more shows, maybe 2, maybe 2 or 3 more shows. That's probably it in this Sned shed, which is the 4th Sned shed. The 5th, if you want to count the beach. That was my first Sned shed, and then in front of the fireplace with the salt lamp, and then moved into the Sned shed, into the little shed outside my house in Topanga, and then the garage in Austin, and now what you see before you here in Dripping Springs, Texas. This is my address, and I will be able to get mail there for a bit longer. For sure, and I may even keep that address. So, yes, so that's still a good address. Thank you for asking. Yeah, let me get back to your comments. I want to connect with you. Let's see. Let's see. Long, winding road. What a journey, Sabine. You heard it. You said it. I mean, I heard it. You said it. But you heard it when I said it. So we all heard it and read it and felt it and are feeling it. I'm a little punchy tonight, folks. Here we go. Um, let's see. Um, Dave, are we going to have a 250 the shirt? That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Thank you, Hunter. Hiya, Dave, and all. Late to chat with slamming back a salad last night was heavy. It's taken all day to lighten back up. Ready. Okay, I'm glad you're light once again. Becca says that stuff didn't save my angel, and she did have breast cancer too, right, Vicky? God bless her. God bless Angel. Marty Ray, welcome. Welcome. Maggie says, I've been researching for 2 months. I follow Tippins and Lodi and Beth and many others. I'm doing sour sop and black seed oil, etc. Thank you so much, my wonderful Sneds. Awesome. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see. Can't believe we've had 5 Sned sheds. Wow. Right? Yeah, that's something. That's something. White Horse, hello, Dave, and all you Sneds. Tony, been with you a long time, 6 or 7 years. Love to be here. Cheers, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. Dave, you're probably going to need a Texas-sized fly swatter on the farm if and there's critters and all. Well, I got this one. I got that one. I got my salt gun. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And by the way, once I get to the farm too, I'm looking forward to getting back into some short content and maybe some walk and talks as Jasper and I walk the farm. Yes, I kind of miss the fireside chats Dave did back in the day. Terry King, yeah, I do as well. I love that fireplace, that big hearth that I had behind me. That was really something. So, welcome one and all. What a time to be alive, and I say that a lot. And I think I say that a lot because never before in human history have we had the level of capitulation to not just to Trump, but to freedom of speech, to freedom of assembly, organic assembly, not inorganic assembly. Never before have we had the kind of impact that we're having on the world with this Trump administration. And never before have we had the kind of exposure that we're seeing on a daily basis of those who we trusted to lead us. We trusted to judge us, make laws on make laws for those judges to judge us on to and here's the thing, what we're seeing is a very, very ineffective Congress. Like, why do we even need them level of ineffectiveness, right? We're seeing a very, very ineffective judiciary from the Supreme Court on down. But we're seeing a very effective executive branch. Now, if one is looking for balance of those three, which the founders wanted for us, which is why that way the executive branch doesn't have too much power, the legislative doesn't have too much power, and the judicial doesn't have too much power. So they created this incredible balance. But what we're seeing as a humanity is we're seeing the legislative exposed, right? Calling for the Epstein files, but then bearing their own transgressions by voting last week to say, or was it this week? This week, it feels like last week because so much is going on. But that they they make this decision that, my friends, we've got to ask the question every decision that's made. So this is why I don't get upset. When Congress makes a decision that is so obvious that it's the wrong decision, that tells me more people have just awakened. Because the people that are like following all these people calling for the Epstein files, and then we want to see Congress's files. No, we can't see those. And who's voting against us being able to see that but themselves? To me, I look at that as, if it's not a white hat script that's being written to expose all these players, and they've all capitulated because of the dirt that we now have on them that Epstein and others once had, that it's just a wake up call to those of us who are still supporting those people. So this balance is a great imbalance, because not because of the way the founders created the three branches of government, but because two of those branches, the judicial, have been infiltrated and molded by foreign investment, foreign money. George Soros putting all his money behind the elections of the DAs and the AGs, the the judges being supported by Soros, the Supreme Court. We're going to find out the corruption there. Okay, we're going to find out about John Roberts and FISA. So, so then the judicial has, if it is unequal, the judicial is not equal for Americans, it's equal for foreign influence. Then we have the legislative body, the Congress, and what's being exposed, and what Q has been telling us for a long time, is the foreign influence of the money into our Congress. So now, if it is balanced, it's not balanced because it's not balanced for the benefit of Americans, which is exactly what it should be balanced in favor of. So now you have this executive branch ran by President Trump, the Q team, and they're doing amazing things. Why? Because they're exposing all this corruption while making great strides for the benefit of Americans, that further exposes those that really aren't acting in the benefit of you and I, right? So it's a very interesting time, because it really is fantastic that we are seeing what we're seeing, and experiencing what we're experiencing. Because if we're experiencing it as anons, yeah, we've been told all about this. It's finally coming to fruition. We have a head start above everybody else, right? But we still need them to catch up. We still need them to wake up. Otherwise, we'll all be in the hospital, as Q said. And we don't want that. Um, Dave, what's your thoughts on the ghost who appears on Nino frequently and on Ron Partain's Untold History? The ghost doesn't show his face either because his ops passed, etc. I've never listened to the ghost. Maybe 5 minutes back in the day. Didn't like the anonymousness of it all, and the supposed connections from what I could hear. But so I don't have a real, like, solid thought on that. So yeah. And so it seems white hat. It does seem white hat, right? Um, let's see. Just say it out loud. The government has to go. Yes, Ravens Wings. Good to see you. The government has to go, and I think that is what if the corruption was pulled out of it, if the foreign money, if the big donations, if the election interference was taken out of the government, we would have a much better world. But we can't. with the structure it's in now, right? Um, excuse me. New York, they're having a vigil for their Iran leader. Really load them up and send them to Iran. Unbelievable, folks. And how many feminists are going to be there? Meanwhile, you have stories about, feminists that are absolutely. Let me turn the fan on. It's getting a little warm in here. You have, stories of, beheadings and executions in Iran for women that were raped by their husband. They have Sharia law, which is definitely not a benefit to these women that live in this country and live under this rule. And this is, by the way, a vigil Iranians showed up for. Freedom for Iran. They have the old flag. They have Trump and the flag. And these Iranians showed up for a vigil of the victims who were fallen U.S. soldiers of Iran are very racist. And when you see them, understand, and they're singing our Star Spangled Banner. Beautiful, beautiful. So this is one of those things, my friends, that we're seeing the people that actually live there that are supporting Trump and supporting the actions. The actual people of Iran. I know Persians. I love Persians. Like I've gotten along swimmingly with Persians, and they're they're family people. They're beautiful people. I've dated Persian. Beautiful, beautiful, and it's the Iranian people need to be able to live again and live freely. Everybody on this earth should live freely, and I believe that's where we're heading. And I believe that's why Q is talked about. This is worldwide, folks, without question. This is a worldwide revolution, and the only thing stopping it is those who are still asleep. So, speaking of this, so what I was just saying about this woman who was she ripped off her hijab in court and threw her shoes at the judge. She screamed that the man who raped her should be punished, not her. The judge responded by sentencing her to death. This is in Iran. On August 15th, 2004, 16-year-old Atifa Rajabi Sahala was publicly hanged from a crane in the town of Nekka, Iran. The judge in her case, Haji Rezai, personally placed the noose around her neck. She was left hanging for approximately 45 minutes. Her father had not been informed of the execution. Atifa had first been arrested at 13 after being found alone in a car with a boy. She received prison time and 100 lashes. According to a BBC documentary, she was sexually assaulted by guards during detention. She was arrested and convicted twice more for crimes against chastity under Iranian law. A fourth conviction carried an automatic death sentence. The man involved, 51-year-old Ali Darabi, a former Revolutionary Guard member, received 95 lashes. Her court documents falsified her age as 22. Amnesty International called the execution a crime against humanity. Iran later issued a posthumous pardon. So they pardoned her after her death, right? And this is what liberals, what say you, libs? What are they, how are they justifying this? How are they justifying this action? And by the way, hats off to Spiritual Street Fighter for and Panic Up Here, and this is blue pill or red pill. And what we're seeing is definitely a panic. And I want to tell you the following, and I want to make a prediction. So President Trump's post the other day about he would ask John Cornyn or Ken Paxton to instead of the runoff, he would choose who he wants and he would ask the other to step aside. Now, what's being bandied about is that John Thune wants Cornyn because Cornyn's a good old boy. All right. And he's holding the SAVE Act over President Trump's head, I think, as saying, if you do Cornyn, I'll do the SAVE Act for you. Ken Paxton even came out and said, if me stepping out of the race gets the SAVE Act passed, I would do that. And which is really incredible. Like this, so everybody wants to be, a senator, U.S. senator. And when you're so close and you're willing to step aside, because, yeah. So also Raheem Kassam said that, let me show you this. And this is a big deal, folks, because I think what's happening here is you're seeing somebody trying to kind of blackmail Trump, which I think is John Thune. And quite honestly, folks, I don't think he's going to go for it. That post on Truth Social, where he asked one of them to step aside, supposedly was released without his approval prematurely. That's the word that's been put out. In the inner circles of Texas elections, it is anticipated that President Trump will support John Cornyn because he wants to get the SAVE Act passed. But rumor has it that some White House advisors are telling President Trump he can't endorse Ken Paxton because Paxton's divorce records will come out and sink his election. Here's the problem. The divorce records are already public, and they were a nothing burger. These people are lying to President Trump to keep Rhino Cornyn in. And I do believe that this is what's being played out. I do think, by the way, that President Trump is seeing the backlash of Texas. And if President Trump chooses John Cornyn, here's what I think will happen. The 50% of the Texans, the half of the Texans that gave their vote to Ken Paxton, Trump will lose them just a bit. Like they'll still be on the Trump train, but they'll be very disappointed in Trump. All right. And those are the awake people. The people that voted for Paxton are awake. The people that voted for Cornyn, they just know his name. Okay. And Cornyn spent 10 times the amount of money Paxton did. And so I think that they will maybe lean more towards Trump for choosing Paxton because they'll say, why is he choosing Paxton? And then they'll see why if they really want to know. If not, they just don't care. So it doesn't really matter. But President Trump will lose more support in Texas if he goes with Cornyn than if he goes with Ken Paxton. But here's the other thing. President Trump doesn't get blackmailed. He doesn't get coerced. Okay. He's running this show. And I would be very, very surprised if he picks Cornyn, unless he's got plans for Paxton above and beyond, and he's allowing them to play their game to get the SAVE Act passed, and then we will expose Thune and Cornyn even more than we already have. That's my take on that. And I think this is very, very important. Now, Let's listen to Nancy Mace being interviewed here regarding Ilhan Omar.
Congresswoman, where do we stand on the investigation into Ilhan Omar? Obviously, there's some, questions regarding her citizenship. She's been referred to the ethics committee. Can we trust the ethics committee to actually be ethical and do the right thing?
Well, what's happened so far? Like, really, I think the remark is always let the process play out, right? That's what they always say, and never happens. I tried to subpoena her immigration records, her brother husband's immigration records, and it was Republicans that killed my motion.
Yeah, and what's going on with that? Do you have any more insight you can share on that?
As far as I know, nothing's going on, and nothing will go on. And that's Congress for you, because both sides protect the other.
Yeah.
Thank you
very much. Appreciate it.
Nancy Mace, who is trying to get the records of subpoenas the record subpoenaed of Ilhan Omar's immigration records, which would expose her to fraud. So Congress is protecting her. Okay. So the way I see this is we're going to Congress is being exposed. She just said Congress, you can't rely on them. They're not doing anything, and they're protecting each other. Okay. And this is what we're seeing. This is exposure. The week before, we saw the exposure of the Supreme Court. And we actually heard President Trump say that there's foreign influence in the Supreme Court. And I said, give it a week or two and we'll have confirmation of that. Okay. Now, John Roberts, we know, headed the FISA court. That's going to come out. That's all being released. The declassification of FISA and Operation Hurricane and trying to take Trump out by spying on him, and that's all coming out, and that's a huge scandal. Roberts is going to be tied to that. Okay, so last week it was the exposure of the judicial system at the highest level of the Supreme Court. This week it's the exposure of the legislative branch at the highest levels. They're voting to keep their secrets safe, meanwhile calling for the release of the Epstein files, and also they're not holding Ilhan Omar accountable, right? And so this is in front of Congress, and I want to play this for you. This is Tim Tebow, the former football star out of Florida, and he is now in front of Congress talking about all these numbers, all these dots. And listen to this.
Every one of those red dot maps is a unique IP address that is downloaded, shared, or distributing child rape images, almost all under the age of 12. And that's just a 6-month screenshot of it. And there are over 338,000 on there. There's blue dots on there. You can't really see them, but the blue ones are the ones that are under investigation.
In a sea of red.
Isn't that a problem of what we're talking about? Every one of those red dot maps is a unique IP address that is downloaded, shared, or distributing child rape images, almost all under the age of 12. And that's just
under the age of 12, folks. Okay. And that's just, what do you say, 6 months?
It's a 6-month screenshot of it. And there are over 338,000 on there.
338,000. How many sealed indictments do we have? Over 600,000. I think these people are part of being taken care of. All right. Apparently, the last of the Epstein files will be released this weekend. That'll be interesting. I plan on doing a show tomorrow night, my friends. I hope you can join me. It's going to be a good night, and especially if they release some more of the Epstein files. Let's see. Bowhunter says, I think she's part of the bigger investigation taking place, and maybe they're trying to hold up any early exposure that might risk the case. I think you're talking about Nancy Grace, not Nancy Grace. I'm sorry. Nancy Mace and Ilhan. That very well could be Bowhunter. But here's the thing too. Let's say that, let's say that they released Ilhan, right? And this is I want to remind you that this is a method used by Andrew Breitbart, and he learned it very early. He might have learned it from his early trips to Israel when he started Breitbart. Possibly controlled opposition, although I am an Andrew Breitbart fan because he was calling out pedophilia before anybody, especially with Hillary Clinton's camp by calling out John Podesta. And I do believe he was murdered by Podesta in camp. But he would, let's say you have two pieces of evidence. You put one piece of evidence in your back pocket and you release the piece of evidence or the insinuation of wrongdoing of the person accused, whether it be a senator, congressman, whatever, right? They come on publicly to denounce it, knowing that if that's all they have on them, that they can, sidestep this. So he gets them to come out and lie. And after they've exposed themselves, he brings out the other piece of evidence that nails it shut. Then they have to come out and apologize, right? Not only for doing that, but for lying to us about it. So think about if they came out with Ilhan Omar's, all her stuff, without going through Congress. We wouldn't have the benefit of seeing who was voting to keep those records sealed, right? Excuse me. We're going to find out about there's another thing that they did where they're going to be able to find out who was, accused of sexual misconduct in Congress. They're going to find that out anyway. But now we're going to find out after we've seen everybody who was involved who voted against it and their friends who voted against it. Even more exposure. So that's what's so beautiful about what, we all know she's guilty, right? Unbelievable. Let's see. That's just how many accounts. We're not talking about how many cameras with 10,600 photos each. This is on the Epstein files release, I think you're talking about. I like the way they voted to not release Congressional sex scandal fund financials the same day the Epstein files released the fake witness. Yeah, exactly. Right. The timing on this is really, really something. And Q told us about this, right? Q told us about this. So I'm reposting that Tim Tebow on my timeline. I'll also repost the Nancy Mace. But so the legislature is being exposed, my friends. And it's a beautiful thing. Now let's look at, we're going to talk about Kristi Noem here in a second too, which is all, by the way, the same. Okay. Elon Musk said this, the posted, this is from DC Lidstone. Folks, if you're not following DC, please do so. It's a great follow. And Elon Musk said the stage is being set for what is to come. He posted this yesterday, right? Okay. And then DC posted today's Delta, is the stage set for a drop of HRC? There you go. Raw video, 5.5. Right? We know which video they're talking about. We have it all. Reread regarding stage, the nail in many coffins, liberal, undue, impossible to defend, toxic to those connected. We must work together. We are only as strong as your voice. You must organize and be heard. This is why they keep you divided and in the dark, weak. We are here to unite and provide truth. Dark to light, evil surrounds us. We are fighting for you. Where we go on, we go all. The choice to know will be yours. End. Q. You know, folks, if so much of this was released without seeing the people who are trying to actively hide it, we would not have as much good usable information as we have, given what's happening now, because we're being exposed to those who are trying to bury it, right? So what's also very important about this is that as for podcasters, for people that are doing shows and they're selling merch and they're doing all this stuff, they're all being exposed, right? I'm all about child trafficking, but I'm anti-Trump. I'm all about, no sex change, but I'm against Trump. Or I've been Trump and Q all along, but now we're against Trump. Thank you. Thank you for showing us who you are so we know who to follow, because Q said, be careful who you follow. Q warned us about charlatans. Warned us about people that would pretend that they were part of Q. Q told us operators never divulge. Q told us about people that would, promise intel, right? No outside comms is what Q said, right? So that has been my guide in who I listen to and who I respect and who I share with you. They have to have truth as their number one utmost reality here. Okay. Let me play this for you. This came out today, and this is important. Just shifting gears here for you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew Gagliotti, and I'm the head of the Justice Department's Criminal Division. Thank you all for joining us today as we announce the largest coordinated healthcare fraud takedown in the history of the Department of Justice. Today marks a decisive moment in our fight to protect American taxpayers from fraudsters and to defend the integrity of America's healthcare system. We are announcing today charges against 324 defendants for their alleged participation in healthcare fraud schemes involving approximately $14.6 billion in false claims submitted to Medicare, Medicaid, and other healthcare programs. In a takedown this large, I can't possibly describe all of the work that went into dismantling each scheme, but there are 4 key points that bear emphasizing. First, let me be clear about what these healthcare fraud schemes mean for every hardworking American family. These criminals didn't just steal someone else's money, they stole from you. Every fraudulent claim, every fake billing, every kickback scheme represents money taken directly from the pockets of American taxpayers who fund these essential programs through their hard work and sacrifice. And when criminals defraud these programs, they're not just committing theft. They're driving up our national deficit and threatening the long-term viability of healthcare for seniors, disabled Americans, and our most vulnerable citizens. This enforcement action involves the seizure of cash, as well as luxury vehicles and properties, returning real money to American taxpayers and to our government healthcare programs. Second, we are seeing a disturbing trend of transnational criminal organizations engaging in increasingly sophisticated and complex criminal schemes that defraud the American healthcare system. As part of this takedown, we've identified and charged defendants operating from Russia, Eastern Europe, Pakistan, and other foreign countries. These individuals have infiltrated our healthcare system to steal American taxpayer dollars. As just one example, We dismantled a scheme involving a sophisticated operation run from Russia and Eastern Europe that strategically bought dozens of medical supply companies in the United States and submitted more than $10 billion in fraudulent healthcare claims to Medicare. To make matters worse, these perpetrators used the stolen identities of more than 1 million Americans spanning all 50 states to perpetrate this scheme and submit these false claims. But I'm pleased to report that federal agents intercepted and arrested key members of that organization at U.S. airports and the U.S.-Mexico border, cutting off their intended escape routes. The days of transnational criminal organizations using the American healthcare programs as their personal piggy bank are over. Third, this takedown resulted in criminal charges against 74 defendants, including medical professionals who fueled America's deadly opioid crisis for personal profit. These are not isolated instances of poor judgment. These are calculated schemes designed to exploit Americans struggling with addiction while enriching the very people who were duty-bound to help them heal. We charged pill mill operators who prescribed unnecessary opioids. We dismantled networks of corrupt pharmacies that existed solely to distribute drugs to addicts and dealers, feeding the addiction crisis that has devastated so many American communities. This is not healthcare. It is a staggering breach of trust. And under my leadership, the criminal division will prosecute these criminals as aggressively as we would any drug dealer, because that's exactly what they are. Fourth, many of the defendants charged as part of this takedown specifically targeted our most vulnerable citizens, elderly Americans in nursing homes, individuals with disabilities, those battling serious illnesses, and more. For example, our prosecutors charged 7 defendants, including 5 medical professionals, in connection with approximately $1 billion in fraudulent claims to Medicare and other healthcare benefit programs for performing medically unnecessary skin grafts on dying patients as they were seeking to spend their final days with dignity and peace. That conduct is exactly as callous and disturbing as it sounds. Patients and their families trusted these providers with their lives. Instead of receiving care, they became victims of elaborate criminal schemes.
So thank you, Jim Ferguson, for that clip. And this is, this is all being revealed, my friends, across every level.
Good morning, everyone.
Is absolutely fantastic. Now, let me share this with you of Pete Hegseth. Okay, Southcom. Let me pull this up for you.
We get used to kind of living inside a status quo, or we get used to a new normal sometimes. I think that's happened to a lot of these countries. It happens inside our countries. Well, these gangs are just too powerful, or the drugs are just everywhere. And our job is to change that paradigm. President Trump's trying to do that in our own country and then help other countries in this AOR recognize that no, with the right political will and the right authorities and some new partnerships and some new capabilities, we're taking the fight to these guys. Never once, if we're active other places, is our gaze turned away from Southcom and Northcom in the Western Hemisphere, which is the president's priority. We get used to kind of living inside a status quo, or we get used to a new normal sometimes. I think that's happened to a lot of the.
And so let's talk about Southcom for a second. Okay. The first ever America's Counter Cartel Coalition, right? Colonel Towner Watkins says, let me pull this up for you. Many people won't grasp the significance of this action. Many of the old family oligarchs gained wealth via opium shipping. They continued these operations covertly after creating the CIA to act on their behalf after World War II. with their lawyers and bankers leading the CIA. This is entrenched in the very agencies many thought were fighting against it, in the FBI, DEA, and local police agencies, etc. Hundreds of billions of dollars have been stolen from Americans to feed the narco operations globally under the guise of a war on drugs. The drugging of Americans was intentional. Congress has known about this for decades and funded the CIA despite the knowledge. For the first time ever, an effort is being made to stop it. Every single person fighting against President Trump is fighting against these efforts knowingly. Folks, this goes to the very heart of the Monroe Doctrine. And this is also very detrimental to the cartels, right? And so this is also at a time when the mainstream media and many podcasters have told us that Trump has fired Kristi Noem, when in actuality, Kristi Noem is taken over as a special envoy for the Shield of America's Western Hemisphere. This is basically the Monroe Doctrine, okay? She certainly got criticism over the immigration, enforcement that she was a part of and a head of, and she did an incredible job as a DHS. But that's just the United States. Now she's doing the Western Hemisphere. Okay, think about that. So that's like, telling a guy at a 7-Eleven, yeah, you're fired as the general manager of this 7-Eleven. Okay. And everybody's like, oh, he got fired. Well, what are you going to do now? He says, well, I got appointed to, watch over 26 7-Elevens, be the manager of all the managers. Oh, okay. Well, you didn't get fired at all, did you? No. Okay. So watching the press cover this and watching podcasters cover this as if she got fired, if he didn't believe in her. Now, on the surface, he ran a $200 million ad campaign that President Trump did not approve of. And she was questioned in front of Senator Kennedy, and that didn't go very well. And so certainly on the surface, yes, he's making a decision, but it's also, if he didn't believe in her capability, he certainly wouldn't have put her as a special envoy of this particular thing. Yeah. Jasper is at my feet right now, actually. He just had his second birthday, by the way. February 27th was his second birthday. On that day, I think I told you. Thank you, guys. Please fill us in on your situation, Dave. We're worried about you. No, I'm not leaving Texas. I'm moving 20 minutes away. A little bit less expensive place, a little bit less pressure every month, but it's a good thing. It's definitely a good thing. Overall, it's sad that I'll be leaving this home, but it's going to be a very good thing. So, and I'm west of Austin. I'm not West Texas. I'm Central Texas. If I said West Texas, my apologies. But west of Austin, and I'll still be west of Austin. So, yeah. So how interesting, right? That all these things are being done that go against the cartels to protect the Western Hemisphere, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So we need to. Now, so speaking of, getting the word out and being loud and proud and trying to wake up the masses, Elon Musk reposted, and 6.8 million people have seen this. Arctotherium said that annualized UK speech prosecutions are running at about 17 times those of the Soviet Union under Brezhnev. Of course, USSR had 4 times the population, so more like 68 times the prosecutions per person per year. I mean, folks, this is the UK, okay? This is communism in the UK, okay? The UK has absolutely fallen. Absolutely fallen, okay? You know, and but it had to happen this way. It had to be this way. Q has told us that, and we see why. We see why without question. Do you guys have any questions for me? I'll put that out there because I wanted to connect with you more. Let's see. Glad I didn't fall for the clickbait on Gnome. I knew I would get the truth with Sned. Thank you for that, Auntie Honey. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, folks, if you're not happy with how she manages one store, would you really put her in charge of more stores? Doesn't make any sense. Oh yeah, I've experienced the Texas summers. They're pretty brutal. President Trump announced Noam got the new gig on Thursday after reportedly growing frustrated with her handling of the Minneapolis shootings and lavish spending habits. The spending habits, I think, were the main thing. Farian, good to see you. Let's see. Badlands trying to make it a bad thing. Yep. Let's see. Trump is announcing the new program tomorrow at 10 a.m. I believe in Doral. Cool, Bo Hunter. That would be cool. And we'll talk about that tomorrow night then. Yeah. Let's see. These judges are the problem, Devin. Yep. And I think, you know, we're being exposed to that. And that's why we have to see the judges being the problem. Penny for your thoughts says, my friends in the UK can't even talk on Facebook chat anymore. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. If it's possible, let's try to fund his move across town, and moving is expensive. Thank you. Yes, it is. And it's been, yeah. And it's a lot harder, as you know, without money. So please support this work and help with the move and all that goes along with that. You can support me there, or look for the link that Moonbeam will drop in the chat, and I will drop in the chat as well, because I can drop it over on YouTube and in the comments here. Here we go. Please support independent and truthful journalism. Yeah, $220 million is a lot of money. And President Trump said he didn't spend that money to become president. Yeah. Yeah, he moved another player into her position untouched. Brilliant. Yeah, didn't have to go through a whole, I think he has to go through some stuff, but he'll step in without problem. Let's see. My friends in London aren't bothered by them there. I don't understand. Yeah, I don't get that. Yeah, hopefully she didn't spend it on more Botox. It's funny. Yeah, all we can do is stand strong and know we are moving into a beautiful new existence. Without question, right? I mean, this is, folks, we are moving into a very, very, very beautiful existence with all this exposure. It's just really, really amazing. I want to take you to President Trump's post that he did today at 8:50 a.m. Okay. And the significance of this, let me show that there. Here, let me read this to you. Okay. There will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. After that, and the selection of a great and acceptable leaders, we and many of our wonderful and very brave allies and partners will work tirelessly to bring Iran back from the brink of destruction, making it economically bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Iran will have a great future. Make Iran great again. MIGA, M-I-G-A. Thank you for your attention in this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Pretty awesome. Now, when you look at the, we're going to do a dive on that. But when you look at the delta for tomorrow, and he posted that today, you look at the delta tomorrow, 302, you see a man holding up Restart MAGA, MEGA plus MAGA, QAnon with a heart. And this sign says no parking. In English, it's no parking. We stand together in this fight. Where we go one, we go all. So we have this delta tomorrow, and we have Trump's post today on MEGA, make Iran great again. So let's do a dive into this. Now, we're going to go to the capital letter counter on Snedheads. Okay, here you have it, capital letter counter. Then we're going to go to the capital letter, and we're going to drop in that post, and it's capital letters is 102 capital letters. All right, now I'm going to take you to let me pull this up for you. Okay, I'm going to take you to 102. First of all, now most of the time we don't go to 102. We'll either do this is by the way, coordinates, and I believe these coordinates were Manila. Let's post this in to be sure. Let's see. Okay, so this is where it takes us. This is, I'm sorry, yeah, the Manila, Philippines. Okay, I believe this was a Japanese restaurant in Manila, Philippines. Okay, that this drop took us to. Now, what was significant about that was that's where Barack Obama supposedly planned the execution of President Trump with the missile that was fired at Air Force One, and they were using the Twitter. Every time somebody would post on Twitter, those with high-level access could see exactly where they were, and could then thus possibly commit an assassination. Confirm UDT, green, Godspeed, code Godspeed. So, but what we normally will do, we'll drop the 0, we'll go to 12. October 30th, 2017, military intelligence referenced above is the absolute biggest inside drop this board will ever receive. Now think about why Antifa plays right into the plan. Always ahead, good guys are winning. So that's a reminder of that. Now I went to 62 and 26 because Dan Scavino had a post today that was a minute and 2 seconds. Okay. So when that happens, then we go to 62. Okay. Highly recommend someone take all my crumbs and put into a massive dump, a single shot. This will be considered the biggest inside approved dump in American history. So the biggest inside drop, the biggest inside approved dump, very connected in American history. They are beginning to understand, as Podesta's attorney was just notified. All my dumps are being recorded, but again, it doesn't matter. Alice and Wonderland, where is Barack Obama today? Which also refers back to the Manila link and timestamp, coordinates of Barack Obama. Okay. Think mirror, go to 26. Think about it logically. The only way is the military, fully controlled, save and spread. Once 11.3 verifies his first marker, biggest advanced drop on post online. So again, biggest drop, biggest dump. Okay. All related. without question, right? Now, let's go to the timestamp, which is 8:50 Eastern time, or 85. So let's go to 85 and see what 85 says. 85 is, who funds MS-13? Why did Barack Obama, again, Barack Obama, BO, instruct Homeland Security and Border Patrol, Homeland Security in the news with Kristi Noem, to release MS-13 captures at the border? What agency has direct ties to two major drug cartels? Also, the announcement today of the coalition against the cartels. Why is AG Sessions POTUS prioritizing the removal of MS-13? Because they were used to assassinate. Why is AG, which was brought up with the Barack Obama assassination attempt? Why is AG Sessions POTUS prioritizing building the wall, immigration, drugs? Who do you hire for a hit? Q is telling us that the deep state was hiring MS-13 to hit, and that's who murdered Seth Rich. And that was Podesta, by the way, which was just mentioned here, okay, in this post. So this is all related in one post. Who can be eliminated after the job is complete? Seth Rich. Seth Rich was eliminated, and then they eliminated two MS-13 members in North Carolina soon thereafter. And Q told us that that's who killed Seth Rich. Who was found dead too shortly after his murder? What affiliation did they have? Classified. Q. That was MS-13. Okay. Let's do a mirror on 85. We'll go to 58 and see if there's another yet connection. All right, I got to do this differently. Okay, here we go. So 58. Let's go to 58. November 2nd, 2017, the Hill presidential campaign, whom Abedin's ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, which is also tied to all these folks, and MS-13. How the Clinton campaign tried to sweep it under the rug. George Soros Media Matters were sweeping it under the rug. And Senator McCain criticized Bachmann when she and four members of the House Permanent Select Committee, Intelligence, and House Judiciary Committee cited Abbott in letters sent to, DOD, D of State, Department of Justice, etc. Why is this relevant? Who took an undisclosed trip to Saudi Arabia? What was the purpose of a face-to-face versus phone call? That was Jared Kushner, Alice, and Wonderland. And that was also the purge that happened. And Alice in Wonderland is also in this post that we saw earlier. Okay. So, so that's just the dive on President Trump talking about the unconditional surrender of Iran. Okay. Very, very important what's happening now. And I want to play for you. The following, and I seem to have lost it. Here we go. Yeah. By the way, this is the Babylon Bee. Iran announcing their new supreme leader.
The assassination of the supreme leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran is a great crime. As the new Ayatollah of the Islamic Republic of Iran, I pledge that this atrocity will not go unanswered. With all our strength and determination, we will make the perpetrators of this crime regret the dawn.
The assassination of the new Ayatollah of the Islamic Republic of Iran is a great crime. as the new Ayatollah of the Islamic Republic of Iran, I pledge.
Hello, new Ayatollah here. Look, I really didn't want this job. Okay, I just joined the government like 3 weeks ago, and I was sitting in a cubicle way off in the corner. And next thing I know, some folks talking across the office are all like, "Let's get Ahmed to do it. No one will miss him." I heard you guys. So yeah, I'm just hoping we can all be cool here. There's no need for things to get all. Oh. Wait a minute. False alarm. It's just my new pager. It's the latest model. You can even play Snake on it. In fact.
So I'm the no Ayatollah, and I know the drill.
The Babylon Bee, my friends, doing some great stuff, there to keep us laughing through this whole thing is so important. I thought this was very powerful. I wanted to share this with you. We all, I think, here believe in the power of prayer, and this was very powerful the other day in the Oval Office here.
We are honored to come before your presence today, lifting up the arms of our president. We pray for your continued blessing and favor to rest upon him. We pray for wisdom from heaven to flood his heart, his mind, and Lord, you will guide him in these challenging times that we're facing today. I pray for your grace and your protection over him. I pray for your grace and protection over our troops and all of our men and women serving in our armed forces. And Father, we just pray you'll continue to give our president the strength that he needs to lead our great nation as we come back to one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We pray your heavenly blessing upon him in Jesus' name. Amen. We are honored to come before your presence today, lifting up the arms of our president. We pray for your continued blessing and favor.
Isn't that beautiful? And so important, so necessary for us to win this war against this satanic cabal. Back to Nome, one of the things I want to share with you, this was from True Stormy Joe, who was reposting. Let's see. If you think this Nome story isn't part of the plan, then you're missing the plot. How this went down. I saw Rev DQ temp higher March 4th Delta hit with Nome. I said to Absolute Truth, without looking at cues yet, this is to bring in the MMA guy for what's next, a warlock-like posture. And then I looked, and sure enough, that cue is also March 4th Delta hit. This is what a military plan looks like, not some bullcrap story. So this is the, this was the March 4th Delta. On the day, March 5th, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem now treading in some dangerous waters. She testified in the Senate this week that President Trump approved of and was aware of a $200 million ad campaign that featured her prominently. Trump now tells Reuters in a phone call he didn't sign off on it. I never knew anything about it, Trump said. That was yesterday. The March 4th Delta, warlike posture. Okay, warlike posture. Is there a benefit, think public optics, to allowing your enemy to open the front door? Warlike posture activated. Thank you for playing. Also on March 4th, acting temporary role, cause destruction, then move on. Hard to hit a moving target anon. Scaramucci model, temp hire by design. Shadow to sessions by design. Public will become aware. Document dump. So this warlike posture could very well be this, Kristi Noem situation. Okay. So another thing to keep in mind that that this might be the reason for the change. Joey Menorino. This is why Zelensky is openly threatening Viktor Orban's life. Hungary just intercepted Ukrainian armored vehicles transporting $40 million US dollars and 9 kilogram of gold seized on suspicion of money laundering. 7 Ukrainians detained, including a former intelligence officer. Kiev claims it's legitimate, declared funds from Raiffeisen Bank Austria under standard agreement, calls the action hostage-taking and theft. But with Orban blocking massive EU aid, loans to Ukraine, and tensions over Russian oil transit exploding, this coincidence exposes the real stakes. Zelensky's regime is furious because the grift is getting exposed. No more blank checks. Hungary is the only one standing up. This is being exposed. Also, Anna Paulina Luna says the Senate is sending down a housing bill and it has a temporary ban on CBDCs. This must be changed to a permanent ban. CBDCs allow for total government control. This will probably get nasty, so I am telling you, everyone now, we would appreciate your air support on this. Yeah, we got to avoid the CBDCs at all costs, my friends, at all costs. Yeah, I'm not a fan, as you know, of the 501c3 fake evangelists, but I do understand the value of prayer. Yeah, who was saying that Noam was having an affair? Let's see. Never thought I'd see that. God's will can still be accomplished even with a few Zionist tards around. It's part of the plan. Susie Wiles probably set her up, said President Trump's okay when he wasn't even told. She thinks she is the real president. Well, yeah, it could be Wiles, but it also, I think is part of the plan. That's the thing. Yeah. There you go. The spirit of light and breath of life that flows through this body praises the everlasting Father, Almighty, Most High at all times. George, thank you for that. Elohim Shomri, our protector in Christ Jesus' mighty name, I humbly ask that you provide protection for the USS Abraham Lincoln and her crew and all ships of the United States worldwide. Keep them sharp. Beautiful. D, hi everyone, prayers for all. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Let's see. Prayer works miracles without a doubt. Yeah, everything's going to be exposed, even the religions. I agree, without question. It was Einstein who, had some intelligence, certainly was part of, I believe, the controlled. He was absolutely controlled. That said, it was him or was it Gandhi? Please, I'll leave it to you all to correct me. But the quote was, "We cannot solve the world's problems in the same frame of mind in which we created them." And when you think about all the world's problems, they were all created in the mindset of religion. If you ask anybody, what's their favorite word? Well, President Trump, it was tariffs, but then he had to change it because there was God, family, country, and tariffs. But people put God up at the top. Most all of us do, right? But that God has come to us through filters of religion, of Christianity, a particular type of Christianity, Catholicism, Presbyterian, Methodist, Lutheran, Seventh-day Adventists. So this is all kind of filtered down. That's all the religion, and then of course Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, Hindu. It's all very different. But we all pretty much put that up there. Well, so we've all made these decisions through these filters of these various religions. So how are we going to solve the problems through all those filters? And so that's part of what I believe that, yeah. So Jeannie says, thank you all for the prayers for my dog Willow. She is now home and still recovering. God bless. Yeah, he was a dunce compared to Tesla. Yeah. Yeah, Whip and Spur. Yeah, you and I are tracking. Yeah. See, it's kind of like what I've been telling you about Musk and X for a very, very long time. Excuse me. And that is that when you all were asking, what do you think about Musk buying X, buying Twitter at the time, obviously, and I told you this is all part of the plan. Okay. And the reason being is because they would not have allowed Twitter to fall into the hands of somebody who, well, he just believes in free speech, or he has certain thoughts on this thing or that thing, or, he's going to, but at any rate, the bottom line here is that this is, I believe this is all part of the plan. And when you look at X and you understand the level of information that we're getting on X, even though there's still shadow bans going on, there's still some censorship going on, there's still messing with accounts going on. This is significant as part of the big picture of the awakening. So they wouldn't have allowed this to be just some billionaire who has a bug up his ass and is going to let everybody. No, that's completely controlled. Let me share this with you. This is more about Iran. This is a very interesting article on NBC, and let's play it here. Interview, I meant.
The world saw your battleship sunk in the Indian Ocean. Dozens of Iranian sailors died. Your response was, quote, "Mark my words, the U.S. will come to bitterly regret the precedent it has set." So what is Iran going to do? And at this point, given the state of your military right now, what can you do?
Well, first of all, that was a training training ship, which was invited by the Indian Navy to take part in an exercise. And they went there as their guests, the Indians guests, and they did participate in that exercise, and they were in their way back home, and the ship was unarmed. So attacking an unarmed ship full of training officers and sailors is a war crime, I have to say.
The U.S. says it controls the skies, that Iran's ballistic missile attacks have dropped more than 80%. The U.S. has hit over 2,000 Iranian targets. The Pentagon says America is winning decisively. Do you think they're wrong?
Well, I think, now 6 days after the war, it is clear that the U.S. Has failed to achieve its main goal, which was a clean, rapid victory. They failed to achieve that, and now they are trying to justify why they did attack us, and they have, presented so many different reasons, but none of them worked. And now they are talking about, Plan B, and I believe that their Plan B would be even a bigger failure. So they are controlling our sky. But at the moment,
Minister, your supreme leader was killed. Your top military leaders were killed. Your military installations have been bombed. How can you call that a failure?
Well, then what they have achieved? What was their goal? They came here for a regime change, perhaps. They came here for a rapid victory, so they can control everything. But they have failed. The system is working. The commanders have been replaced, and the supreme leader is going to be replaced soon, according to the procedures set by the Constitution. So everything is in order. Yes, we have been targeted, but we have also attacked so many targets in Israel, and so many targets belongs to the Americans, their assets, their bases, their installations in the region, and they have not been able to prevent those attacks. Our missiles are still working. Our missiles are still in place and hitting their targets in a very precise manner.
President Trump has not ruled out boots on the ground in Iran. Are you afraid of a U.S. invasion in your country?
No, we are waiting for them.
You are waiting for the U.S. military to invade the ground troops?
Yes, because we are confident that we can confront them, and that would be a big disaster for them.
So you're saying that Iran is ready and willing to take on the U.S. military if there were to be ground troops?
Well, we were ready for this war even more than the previous war. So you can see, the quality of our missiles, how much they are upgraded after the last war, because we learned lots of lessons. And we are prepared for any other eventuality, even, a ground invasion. So our soldiers are prepared for any scenario. When I said that we are waiting for them, it didn't mean that we are waiting for continuation of the war. No, but we have prepared ourselves to confront with any scenario, with any eventuality, any possibility, and we know that we can handle that.
Are your allies Russia and China helping you?
Well, they are supporting us politically and otherwise.
Are they supporting you militarily?
Well, military cooperation between Iran and Russia is not a secret. We have worked with each other in the past, and that has continued, and will continue, I guess.
It's kind of really ironic, right? That, see, this is why this whole thing, when you really see it for what it is, and I believe it is scripted, okay? When you have NBC defending the actions of President Trump, thank you, Jambone, appreciate you. Cheers to you for being here since the beach days. And thank you for those who are donating tonight to help with the move, which is, as you know, very difficult. It doesn't matter how far you're going. I'm only going 20 minutes away, but man, what a job it is. Patricia Jacobs, $25 DOT, truck sales $50. Thank you. Farhad, CR Partners, $10. Thank you all. The other yesterday, Michelle Dujka, Gay Diedrich, Loretta Jean Box, $50. Gay 20, Michelle 5, Cynthia Latorno 50, Tracy Carrera 100. Thank you very much. Cynthia Hale from a couple days ago, Erica Van Kirk, Rosemary Henderson, $20, Linda Prasnick, 50, Edward Quinn, thank you so much for your donation. Steve Fothergill, thank you. Melissa Perme, $20. Yeah, so thank you all for that. And I want to get a wheel spin. I may not get it tonight, but we'll put one together for tomorrow night. And so, when you see something like this and you see the CIA mainstream Mockingbird media, wait a minute, defending President Trump, when if they didn't have this Iranian leader, trust me, NBC has not been defending Trump. They've been talking about the rise in gas prices and going against Congress and going to war without Congress, which they never questioned. Excuse me. Oh, Diana said it was Epstein or Epstein, Einstein's quote, that we cannot solve the world's problems in the same mindset in which we created them. That was Albert Einstein. So I was correct on my first guess there. So Another horrible jobs report released today. The U.S. lost 92,000 jobs in February 2026. This is the highest number of job losses for February since the Great Recession. Audrey, thank you for that. By the way, this is what's interesting about that is that, we didn't have in 2008, we didn't have AI. And AI is replacing a lot of jobs, a lot of personal assistant jobs, a lot of research jobs, a lot of editing jobs. So many jobs are being replaced by AI. And I saw this interview with Elon earlier today, and I wanted to share it with you tonight. And I also wanted to do it while we're on the topic of what do you call it? And I think I have, excuse me, I think I have the right interview. Let me make sure. Let me pull it up and make sure I have the right one. This is how much I pulled aside for you tonight that I have to go through. And I never get to all of it. I rarely get to all of it because I always pick out more than I can have time to get through with you. But let's see. Here it is. Here it is.
You grew up in South Africa.
Yes.
Yeah.
I left when I was 17 by myself. I had a backpack of clothes and a suitcase of books, and that's it.
Did you have a happy childhood?
No, it's terrible.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Why was it terrible?
I had this one guy who would want to see me, and when I had nothing else to do, then I would see him. But he was very insulting to people and rude, and I didn't really like him that much. But then otherwise I just sat at home. After a couple of years, my brother banned him from seeing me. For 2 years I didn't see him. I graduated and went to live in Cape Town, and he came to visit me, just turned up with an engagement ring. And I said, I'll never wear it. And then he went back and told my family that I'd agreed to marry him, which surprised my family because they didn't know I was seeing him and I wasn't. And then I just got this telegram from my parents, congratulations. The wedding arrangements are made, the invites are out, and 800 people are coming. I called him, I said, what do you mean I'm marrying you? And he said, I will change when we get married because then I'll be kinder and nicer. I'm just aggressive because you won't marry me. So I did believe him. And then I fell pregnant on honeymoon. Then the abuse started right away, beating me up if I didn't do as I was told. I came back from honeymoon bruised and pregnant. And then I didn't want my family to know. So then you just put up with that because you have no choice. Elon, while he was a little boy, he grew up in a very violent home. Like, for example, when I always had to drive the car and he would be punching me and Elon would be between the seats hitting his father to stop him punching me. When he would be at home and punching me, Kimball and Tosca would be crying in the corner because they were really babies. Elon was 5, Kimball 4, Tosca 3. Elon would be hitting his dad at the back of his legs. And then when he was 8, we left.
My father has serious issues.
Okay, well, so you didn't have a happy childhood.
It was very violent.
His father, Errol, denies all the allegations of domestic abuse.
After 2 years, Elon said he wanted to go and live with his father, and that made me very sad, because I didn't see why he would wanted to do that. His father had the Encyclopedia Britannica. I couldn't afford books. I mean, he'd read everything in the library in Durban, so he had the opportunity to actually read the whole encyclopedias. I could call him anytime and ask him any subject, anything in the world.
I do know that you were bullied at school and had a
I was
difficult...
almost beaten to death, if you'd call that bullied.
He was shy and awkward at school. Elon didn't have many friends.
Pupils at Elon's school saw him as strange, and he was systematically bullied for years. A gang beat up his best friend, making him agree never to hang around with Elon. On one occasion, Elon was pushed down a flight of stairs and beaten violently, leaving him in hospital for weeks.
It's no surprise then that as an adult, he's a fighter determined to succeed and prove everyone wrong.
That was an interview that I did have clipped for you, but it wasn't the one I wanted to show you. And the one I wanted to show you, I can't find, but it has to do with AI replacing jobs, and how we used to have people in women in big buildings just typing up. Hold on, let me see if I have it here. Okay, here it is, right here. This has to do with AI and the replacement of jobs.
Go through the rationale of UHI. How does universal high income work?
Okay, so going to be more intelligence, digital intelligence, than all human intelligence.
Go through the rationale of UHI. How does universal high income work?
Okay, so there's going to be more intelligence, digital intelligence, than all human intelligence combined, and more humanoid robots than all humans. And assuming we're in a benign scenario, Star Trek, sort of Roddenberry, not Cameron situation.
Yeah. Poor Jim.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's important to have these sort of
counterpoints.
Yeah. Let's not go in that direction. Thing. The robots are going to just do whatever you want.
All the blue collar labor is being done by robots. All data centers are being built by robots.
The white collar labor will be the first to go, because until you can move atoms, the thing that can be replaced first is anything that involves just digital. Like if it's digital, like if it involves tapping keys on a keyboard and moving a mouse, the computer can do that. The AI can do that.
Sure.
You need the humanoid robots to shape atoms. So if all you're doing is changing bits of information, which is white collar work, that is the first thing that
when
AI
is it gone?
will.
This is the inspirational. This is the inspirational part of the podcast, by the way.
Okay.
When is all white collar work gone? By when?
Well, there's a lot of inertia. So even with AI at its current state, I'd say you're pretty close to being able to replace half of all jobs.
And you know that
white collar jobs, that includes anything like education too.
Yeah.
So anything that involves information, and anything short of shaping atoms, AI can do probably half or more of those jobs right now.
Sure.
But there's a lot of inertia. People just keep doing the same thing for quite some time, and there actually has to be a company that makes more use of AI that competes with a company that makes less use of AI, creating a forcing function for increased use of AI.
Right.
Otherwise, the company that still has humans do things that AI can do will still continue to exist. Being a computer used to be a job. So it used to be that a human computer, like what,
yeah.
A computer, being a computer was a job. You would compute numbers.
Sure.
It didn't used to be a machine. It used to be a job description.
Yes.
And there, you can look online. There's these pictures of like where they're having like skyscrapers full
of women copying, mostly women copying from ledger to ledger.
And men too. But people. It was a lot of women, but there were just buildings full of people just at desks doing calculations.
Yeah.
So they'd be calculating the interest in your bank account, or some science experiment or something like that, or what. But if you want calculations done, people would do it. Now, one laptop with a spreadsheet can outperform a skyscraper of several hundred human computers,
right?
Of people doing calculations. Now, if even a few cells in that spreadsheet were done manually, you would not be able to compete with a spreadsheet that was entirely a computer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What this means is that companies that are entirely AI will demolish companies that are not.
Right.
It won't be a contest.
Agreed.
That's
And
a good
that
analogy.
that flipping.
Yeah, just one cell in that.
Just one. If
I gotta do that.
Would you want
home,
even
actually. I'm
one
trying-
cell in your spreadsheet to be manually calculated?
Yeah.
That would be the most annoying cell, and you're like,
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
And gets it wrong a bunch of the time.
Yeah.
Introduces error rate.
So this is the reality of AI from a guy who has one of the best AI companies in the world. He's telling us, he's letting us know what to look out for, what to be worried about, and giving us a heads up. I wanted to share this with you, and I'm going to wrap things up tonight. It's been a long week, and this is head of one of the largest Chaldean Catholic churches in the U.S. was arrested Thursday at San Diego International Airport, attempting to board an international flight. Bishop Emmanuel Hanna Shaletta faces 8 felony counts of embezzlement and 8 counts of money laundering tied to an investigation into the alleged diversions of hundreds of thousands of dollars in church funds meant for the poor. Separate reports have also alleged late night trips to Tijuana's Hong Kong Gentlemen's Club. Q told us those that you trust the most, that they would be exposed, right? So much to cover, my friends, so much to be aware of. And I wanted to bring up 2 more things. So that is more exposure of the of religion. This is more exposure of the judiciary. Elon Musk reposted this. Probability of murder and cannibalism again is 100%. A man accused of hacking someone to death with an axe and eating part of the victim's brain and an eyeball has been granted conditional release after a careful review of his clinical progress, officials in Connecticut say. Officials. The judiciary is being exposed. I'm not going to go in too deep on that because it's just absurd, and that person is being exposed without question. This is from Paul Fleuret, and Oliver mentioned it the other night. And this is Kirill Dmitriev shows the black swan with the mirror, watch the water with a crown. Paul Fleuret says, and we caught this the other night, and I was looking to bring this up and I couldn't find it, but he said, this is a reflection of the swan. Think mirror. The next black swan event won't break the average citizen. Methinks the next black swan event will cripple them and break their financial system. the fact that the swan is wearing a crown isn't lost on me either, especially seeing how the banks of London are getting absolutely hammered due to the Iran situation. Trump is playing chess while everyone else is playing Connect 4. So very, very well said by Paul Fleuret. So my friends, thank you all for being here tonight across D Live, Rumble, X, Facebook, Telegram. Thank you all who are tuning in on those different platforms. Probably a couple thousand total, and grateful for you being here on Friday night to try to find out the truth about what's really going on in the world. And this is playing right into our hands, or my friends. So much, so much to cover, so much to talk about. And we'll talk about some more tomorrow night. Have some fun. Do a wheel spin tomorrow night. Thank you all who are stepping up to help support this very important truthcast that is unencumbered by outside money, by outside influence. It is supported by you and you alone. So please donate to support this, very, very important work. And if you haven't joined us over on Snedheads, please do that. It's free to join, but $17 will allow you to post and share and be a part of that community there, and also support the work we're doing now. LightningspringsRanch.com. Please use Sned at checkout for 5% off. They have the best grass-finished, grass-fed beef, no mRNA, no antibiotics, none of that crap. So please check that out and get your Lightning Springs Ranch fantastic beef today. Use Sned at checkout. And yeah, my friends, let's get together again tomorrow night. Have a wonderful evening. Yeah, just absolutely we're killing it, folks. A lot of victories here that we should be thankful for. And I'm grateful for all of you who support my work, have been following my work for many years. It is a long journey together, and one that is fueled by the sheer generosity of you and your support of true independent media. Thank you, my friends. Much love to you. Get a good night's sleep. Take care of you. And I'll see you tomorrow night, and look forward to it. Bye-bye.